Auroras shimmered like frozen embers over the capital of Vorthal as Elira descended from the crystal skybridge. Her boots made a soft clang against the jet-black plaza tiles, mirroring the shimmering skyline behind. To any outsider, she appeared to be just another noble of the Centauri, tall, refined, her violet-hued skin streaked with silver rune marks that altered subtly with her mood. But inside, Elira was falling apart. She'd just endured her 5th formal rejection. 5 high-caste suitors had assessed her stellar engineering records, perfect genome sequence, top-tier academy credentials, and all had turned her down. There had been courteous expressions, polished refusals, but refusals nonetheless. One suitor sneered half-joking, "Too moody." Another whispered, "Obsessed with archaic human stories." The harshest laugh. She asked about sunsets, clearly sentimental. In Centauri society, function and logic ruled. Emotional depth, real longing, heartbreak, artistry, was considered disorder, a genetic risk. At 140 cycles old, Elira hovered close to what the Centauri called the final singularity, the age beyond which individuals were dismissed from reproductive eligibility and sent to isolated research spheres. She'd sooner drift into a neutron star than face exile. She climbed into her hovercraft, manually entering coordinates even though the AI could automate it, because she enjoyed the small control it gave her. But she didn't return to her palace. Instead, she flew straight to Station Ivura, a remote orbital colony occasionally visited by Terran envoys. For years, she had studied ancient Earth literature in secret, not for diplomacy, but for solace. Poetry, novels, ballads pulsed with fiery emotion, something her own culture lacked. Stepping into the station's communal lounge, she found a lone figure by the panoramic window. Someone seated at a small table, stirring a steaming mug. He was unusually tall for a human, broad-shouldered, sun-bronzed skin, eyes lined with fatigue, as though he was trying to recall something lost among the constellations. Elira hovered near, studying him too long. He glanced over and smiled faintly. "Don't just hover, sit," he said. Her cheeks blazed, sentient silver blush. She took a seat, fidgeting with her translator band. He introduced himself, Lieutenant Asher Vale, a terraform pioneer turned envoy. He'd served on fringe worlds, learned the Centauri tongue from scratch. She bristled at first. "You're too blunt." He grinned. "You're refreshingly alien, but in a good way." Elira found herself laughing, truly laughing, for the first time in cycles. They talked for hours. Asher recited lines from Shakespeare. Elira shared a haiku-style equation for gravity wave modulation. Between debating ethics of synthetic offspring and sharing a bitter chalk bean candy, she felt something bloom in her chest, not pain, but warmth. She couldn't sleep later. She floated by the station's edge, staring back at Earth and recalling Asher's words. "You don't have to earn love." A subplot emerges. Ambassador Rejection, a stern Centauri official, confronts Elira in a rare late-night meeting. "Why cross species boundaries? You'll disgrace your family," Rhea warns. Elira meets her gaze. "I once believed in duty. Now I believe in truth." 3 weeks pass. They meet daily. She teaches graviton modulation. He shows her how to make cinnamon pancakes. Their bond deepens in ways she can't calculate. But union of Centauri and human? Genetic authorities would never permit it. Policy forbids it. Yet the thought of separation crushed her more than exile ever could. On the 30th day under the station's synthetic dusk, beside a flowering synth garden, she finally speaks. "I've been sentenced by my world, not for lack, but for being different." Asher listens. She continues, "But you see me as I am. You don't see risk. Not a burden." Silence. She takes a trembling breath. "Will you be my partner across the stars, my spouse?" Asher's laughter warms the corridor. "You're mad." He lifts her cheek gently. "And I've never wanted anything more." His eyes burn. "Yes," she whispers. "With all I've got." The reaction is swift. Centauri Council strips Elira of her rank, revokes her research privileges, confiscates her labs. She becomes a dissident overnight. On Earth, Asher's superiors issue cautions. Alliances with alien beings could destabilize negotiations. But he ignores them. They marry informally aboard Ivara, witnessed only by 2 8AI units and a weeping xenobiologist named Dr. Marotek. Unexpected solidarity. Word leaks fast. First mocking, then fear. A Centauri and human together, what does it signal? They become emblematic, less of rebellion than of possibility. Young Centauri, curious and daring, begin questioning the logic of emotionless matching. Humans in interstellar diplomacy, long overshadowed, find a voice through Asher's defiance. Then came the child, unlike anything seen before. Lyra, with Asher's genome and quantum editing tech, produces a viable hybrid embryo. Their daughter, Orion, is born, human spirit fused with Centauri intellect. The Centauri Genetic Council jumps to rescind Orion's status, labeling her an anomaly and a threat. Lyra stands firm, Asher joins her. And surprisingly, public sentiment turns. Across colonies, voices rise. Not only lovers, but artists, scholars, empathic thinkers tired of being reduced to statistics or profiles. Their union becomes a symbol of emotional evolution. In the wake of this, curricula on emotional literacy are added across Centauri academies. Marriage becomes optional. Cross-species families gain recognition. Little Orion is held up not as perfection, but as living potential. Cycles later, the stars themselves remain untouched, but the society has transformed. Lyra returns to her home metropolis, not as a sidelined noble, but as an orator, a storyteller, a catalyst. She addresses vast crowds, sharing her odyssey, not seeking acclaim, but guiding others to recognize that love and logic need not be enemies. Lyra's journey merges calculated brilliance with stubborn emotion. It's a portrait of courage, to rewrite not just one's destiny, but cultural destiny. The added dialogue with Ambassador Kess and the cinnamon pancakes scene highlight contrast between cold duty and intimate life. Orion symbolizes hope, not engineered perfection, but messy, vibrant possibility. Let me know if you'd like more scenes, deeper dialogue, or shifts in setting or tone. In the end, Lyra's story wasn't just about forbidden love, it was about defying a system that told her she didn't belong. She refused to silence her heart in a world that worshipped logic. And in doing so, she cracked open something far greater than a personal fate. She shattered a cultural barrier, one voice against a galaxy of expectations. Orion, her daughter, stood as proof that identity doesn't have to fit within ancient molds. She was born not of compromise, but of courage. Across the stars, people began to see themselves in Lyra's fight, in her loneliness, in her defiance, in her hope. What started as exile became revolution. Love, once dismissed as a weakness, was finally understood as a force of change. And maybe that's the truth Lyra uncovered in the quiet hours aboard Station Ivara. You don't have to be perfect to matter. You don't have to be chosen to choose. You just have to dare, to feel, to speak, to love. Even when the stars say no. Especially then.